Good morning, everybody. Going live on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. This is the VeeFriends Making Comics Show. Making Comics Live. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is VeeFriends? VeeFriends is over 250 characters created by Gary Vaynerchuk. You might know him on the internet as Gary V. Hence the name V and VeeFriends. I am DJ Coffman, the Director of Comics here at VeeFriends. Cheers. Good morning to you. This is me starting my day. I'm going to be working on a Sunday comic strip today at VeeFriends. We have the VeeFriends cartoons, 20 episodes out on YouTube Kids. We've got Topps Chrome coming May 7th. Shout out to the Chrome Bridge over there on Shout out to Chrome Bridge over on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. We've got the collectible trading card game. Look it up. Look it up on eBay. VeeFriends sold items. You'll see. We've got the VeeFriends minis machines here. These are little pencil toppers like this. I'm gonna pick one right now. If you want to tell me blue or pink in the chat, go for it. Blue or pink in the chat. Whoa. Blue or pink in the chat. And then we've got the comic books coming. Comic books are coming. I'm working on comic books here at VeeFriends. Hopefully I'm live over on YouTube. Yeah, I am. Okay, great. And what else? Oh yeah, we have Sunday comic strips. Sunday comic strips coming out every Sunday in the newspapers. 70-something, 72, 77, 70-something newspapers across the country. Shout out to all the VeeFriends family out there collecting newspapers, even flipping some on eBay. It's pretty wild. Thanks for the support. Today I'm going to be working on one of those new Sundays. We've got this Sunday coming up that features Tidy Troll this Sunday, so get out there. It's a really weird looking character there, but he's got a riddle for you this weekend. And what did I see? Pink, blue, pink, blue, pink, Goldilocks, pink. Let's do pink. All right, let's take this pencil off. We'll do blue next. Goldilocks 23 watching over on Instagram. Am I live on TikTok? Let's see what's going on. Oh yeah. Hey D Coleman's always live over there on TikTok. Slimy said blue. I missed your chat. All right, let's open up this one for the pencil of the day. Again, I've been skipping the warm-ups because I've already been drawing this morning, so I'm going to be working on a little bit of this. If you can guess what character that's going to be. Let's open up this pink capsule and well, it's Ambitious Angel. Bubblegum. Ambitious Angel. That's pretty wild. Can you guess who this character is going to be? That's some fate right there. Wow, it's pretty cool. So yeah, this comic's going to feature Ambitious Angel. So I've done a little bit of rough sketching here. You can kind of see the layout that's coming together for this one. So, good morning, Alana. Good morning, Michael. LG, what's going on? Thanks for joining over on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on all these channels. Follow us on VeeFriends Comics, all that you see there. VeeFriends Comics, at VeeFriends Comics on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. You Instatalk. Thank you. Thank you so much. I got Meticulous Magpie. You got it? Like you bought or you took it? Yeah, let me know. Over there. Good morning, everybody. All right, cool. So you see I've got some like extra lines down underneath here. I'm gonna get rid of some of those real quick. Turn those off. I don't need all that. Wow, there's a whole bunch of grid stuff happening there. I'll get rid of that. I'm going to fade this out a little bit. A lot of bit, actually. And I want to do something really fast where I want to adjust the color on my iPad screen down there. So just give me one moment. It's a little dark on there, so I want to do some color correction just to kind of increase the brightness a little bit. There we go. So you can actually see a little bit of the grid. I think that's good. Yeah, it's way better. Cool. Kind of want you to see a little bit more clearly what I'm drawing here. So we've got, I'm going to fade this out. And we're going to get into some pencils here. Those are alternative pencils. I'm going to get them down there. I had started this strip with something else in mind, and as the week progressed, I was thinking more and more, and I'm like, I don't want to stick to like a grid, boring layout. So sometimes you can find yourself falling into that trap. And so I thought I really want to open it up. Got all this space to use in the newspaper, so I thought I'd use it, you know, to kind of spread things out a little bit. Angel's going to be sitting up here on this cloud, and then she's going to kind of whisk into this panel. Kind of like that. Something like that. We'll get there. But first, got some extra pep in your step today, DJ? I don't know. Do I? Do I seem like I'm more awake this morning? I don't know. Maybe. Got a lot to do today. Got to do some packing. We have a big trip for the comics team. We're going to Minnesota. We're going somewhere. I won't say where. We're going on a week-long offsite with Gary to discuss and plan and do things with comics. You know, all things comics for an entire week. So I'm really looking forward to that. So I'm going to kind of scatter these panels a little bit. First, I want to draw them kind of nice. Yeah, we're all going to work on comics. So Chris Faison will be there. Ali Castro will be there. It's going to be fun. And I really think, I don't know, in my mind, I don't know how it's going to go, but ideally, I think we'll be able to map out a year's worth or more of comic plans, like what issues are coming out. Because, like, you guys haven't even seen the issues. I mean, you haven't even... You should have seen these by now, but they'll be coming very soon. But, like, the actual stories that are coming are way different than the comic strips you've been seeing. So we've got complete, like, adventure stories and origin stories and all kinds of stuff like that. So, retreat? I don't know. Would you call it a retreat? Are there going to be, like... When I think of retreat, I think of, like, massages and stuff like that. Like... Or beaches. I don't think there's any beaches where we're going. But that's all good. I'm just going to go ahead and extend this line here. But yeah, and I'll talk a little bit more about what this strip is about. Will I be at the Chicago Nationals? I'm going to say like 90% sure I'll be there at some point. I haven't heard from anybody officially or the technical plans of it. I went last year for a couple days. I'll probably do the same thing. For those that don't know, the National is the like San Diego Comic-Con of sports cards. As a matter of fact, I would say the National is very reminiscent to me of San Diego Comic-Con. It was so packed and massive, just massive. I've never seen anything like it. San Diego Comic-Con gets pretty busy. New York Comic-Con is also very busy, but the National just hits different. It's just different. You know? I want these to be white clouds up here, of course. I want Ambitious Angel to be kind of sitting on a cloud listening up here. And in this case, we got a character here. I don't know what she looks like yet. I'm going to design her live. And I can make this text a little bit bigger. I want to own my own coffee shop. I want to open. How about that? I want to open. I want to open. I'll put this on the other line. Just to kind of give it a nice... Whoops, what did I do there? Okay. I want to open my own coffee shop. I think I'm even going to bold this over here. This is like the opening line of the comic. This character saying she wants to open her own coffee shop. And then we're going to have a bunch of doubters. Like, in this economy, now is the worst time to start a business. You're too old to do that now. How about, aren't you too old to do that now? A little bit of writing here. These could change too, because after I show Gary the final strip, he might say, "Hey, make that this." Aren't you too old Aren't you too old to do that now? Hear that a lot. People in their 50s and 60s are like, "I'd love to start a business, but I'm too old now." It's like crazy. You got the experience. Space these out. In this economy, I think that'll be bold. Then we'll get to draw on some funny looking faces and people. Tilt that a little bit. Just make this a little bit bigger. The positioning of the script is really important, like in these bubbles. So I'm going to just take that. There are already so many of those. It'll never work. They say like one of the times when you're starting to have ideas and you express them out loud to your circle of friends, you usually get like all the doubters because they've never done anything and they're, you know, maybe they're worried about you. If they don't want you, they don't mean you harm by saying these things. Same thing when I, was growing up wanting to make comics. People were like, there were definitely some doubters, like saying like, that's not a real job. Like you should probably, look for a better career or something like that. And you'd find yourself at times thinking like, maybe they're right. Maybe I should just like put my dreams aside. Of course, you got to be practical. Some things are not entirely possible right this minute, but you got to put yourself in the position to make it happen. I've heard that story a million times by now. I'm not going to work on the VeeFriends logo because that's kind of boring to sit here on the stream and do. Maybe I'll get to it in a second, but I thought it'd be fun to like work on some of these faces while I chat with you. Where's the fam this morning? I know seems to be way less people watching this morning. So feel free to share the stream around if you'd like. We're going to get into creating this character out of nothing. She's never existed before. I'm going to give her kind of want her to be not super young, not super old either. So I'm going to put a little bit of wrinkles, maybe just a little bit. I've been involved in so many of these conversations where someone wanted to start a business and then, somebody was just like, you'll never get that's crazy. No one will buy that or do that. And then they just don't do it. They don't even try. I heard a story yesterday, actually. I was listening to a podcast and about finding your passion or whatever. Like that was the topic that came up. And the story was, this lady said, someone was grilling this lady about like, hey, well, what was your passion? And she's like, well, I really want to travel, but I can't afford to travel. And so the person said, well, why don't you try to work for a travel agency? And so then the lady quit her job and went to work for a travel agency, and then was able to actually travel for her work. Get discounts and things like that. And same thing with, there was a chef. I don't know who the chef was because they didn't say on the podcast, but they said that this lady was in a job that she really hated, and and again, it's the question of, well, what are you passionate about? What did you really want to do? And she's like, well, I really wanted to be like a cook or a chef, or I really like recipes and stuff. And then now she runs she became one of the biggest chef businesses in like New York or something. Like, I don't know her name, but if you do, shout out. I'm gonna raise a coffee cup here. I guess there's like a business where you can have a chef come to your parties and like cook and stuff like that, and maybe that was the app or something that the person made. Give her like a little ponytail. So I don't like looking directly at the reader unless it's like breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Maybe she's like looking at the coffee cup. It's kind of swirling. It's kind of fun. And I don't know what kind of clothes can vary. Stick to like a nice, comfortable look there. Might even bump this lettering up. Everybody's sleeping this morning, so thanks for popping in. Everybody's still asleep on this Friday morning. I want to open my own coffee shop, and I'm going to have it breaking the panel up there. And also visually, I think I'm going to have like hearts, because she's like in love with the idea kind of thing. And then by the end, over here, when she's depressed, there'll be broken hearts. I think that's a good transition. Just thought of that now. I think it's... sounds pretty good. And reality is not a whole lot of businesses work out. I've known people that launched coffee shops or record stores or, you know, all kinds of things like that. But you got to try, you know. It's hard work running a business of any kind. Some people think it's just going to be fun all day, you know. And then when it becomes not fun, especially the people that I know that had comic book stores, they become kind of miserable. And, you know, but it's the people that stick to it and find a way, or, you know, actually figure out, well, this isn't working. I'm going to be practical. Let's put Practical Peacock up in here. We'll replace Practical Peacock with Adventurous Astronaut. We'll do that. There we go. A little practicality would go a long way. Can he sit there too? Can he sit here? He could. All right. There we go. Someone asked if I'm going to Orlando soon. Again, I don't know. Like, I think they all know that I'm very willing to go to all the shows. So I just haven't heard from anybody officially. Last year it was kind of similar. Like, I didn't know till closer to the show that I was going. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do VeeFriends logo across the top. She's going to be sitting on the cloud. Well, that's the fun part. Let's draw these weird faces. These are like detractors, doubters, Debbie Downers. Let's start with like a mom type. You know. In this economy. Blah. It's always fun to work on like random, you know, cartoon faces. Let's draw like real weird. Beady eyes, I guess. I don't know. We're just making up doubting people. Maybe they all have coffee, which is funny. Could be like tea or something. They're all drinking coffee and hey, thanks for watching over there on TikTok. Make sure you guys are following. Follow us, subscribe on the channels you might be watching on. We'd really appreciate it. The new comic strip is out. Let's talk about that real quick. Corso posted over on our Instagram. Let me get over there. By the way, VeeFriends.com. Any moment, VeeFriends.com, you can go to comics, click that, and the daily comics you can read through on our site. But would love it if you went to Instagram, VeeFriends Comics. Again, that's Instagram at VeeFriends Comics, and the new comic from Ali Castro on the team is Energetic Electric Eel. If you would like this post and let us know that you're watching live as we read through it, we're going to get in here and read the comic together. So we got Energetic Electric Eel. By the way, if you're new to VeeFriends, email me at comics@VeeFriends.com. We'd love to hear from you and maybe send you something if you're new. Thank you. Energetic Electric Eel is at like an award show. I'd like to thank my electric family, my fantastic fans, and especially the Academy for this amazing honor. This is the greatest moment of my life. So I don't know if you remember the Oscars, there was a person that started singing and they were like not singing her off the stage. But look at, I just want to like stop for a moment because like it's so easy on these social media posts to just skim through them. I'm sure this took like hours to draw. But like look at the level of detail down here in the crowd of the fish. You got the hammerhead shark, a couple of the different fish. That looks like barb, brilliant barb down there, a mermaid. When we're underwater, we usually have VeeFriends helping people, and I said, well, why don't people underwater would be mermaids or mermen or mer people. So anyways, Electric Eel is obviously winning an award here. Next panel is multiple panels actually, because it's kind of cool the way that she did this. Broke that one frame into multiple frames, so it's almost like a little mini comic page. 30 seconds later, they're still talking. Oh, I'm trying to, sorry. Should we clap now? Ooh, I've always wanted to say. So the person, Electric Eel, just keeps talking as they're trying to, you know. We absolutely love your energy, but you already thanked half the Pacific. Maybe tone it down like 10%. Shrewd Shark. Hungry Hammerhead. See again. Look at this little barbfish back here. Brilliant barbfish in the back. Super cute. Good cartooning, good composition. So great to have Allie on the team. So okay, I can do controlled excitement. I can totally keep it together after winning my dream award. I'll wrap it up. Watch this. And they're kind of doubting, saying, yeah, maybe we should get behind something solid. Thank you, my underwater academy. And like it's just blasting the energy. So great work. The energetic Electric Eel, the idea here is also that you ever have those friends that are super high energy and you know sometimes you even don't want to be around them, but or they won't stop with their high energy. So it can be a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. So make sure you pop in here, like this post. I'm gonna like it right now. Comment that you're here. Say like, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here live, talking to you. Help us grow the comics channels by following us on those channels. Again, thank you so much. VeeFriends, email me at comics@veefriends.com and we'll reset the stream in a moment. Let's open up this blue VeeFriends mini. These are pencil toppers. Open this up. I'm missing my Instagram chat. Where are we? There we go. All right. It's a quiet morning here. Quiet Friday morning. Everybody's waiting for the weekend. Who do we got? We got a detailed dope dodo. Amazing. Well, Ambitious Angel, Bubblegum, Dope Dodo, definitely. I don't have a detailed Dope Dodo yet. Take a really zoom in look at him. A little seam there. It's like a little scar. Dope Dodo's been through it. Really good painting jobs on these two for being so small. Dope Dodo. One of the skateboarding crew, or the street crew of VeeFriends that you haven't seen yet, but you will. You will. So I like these different head shapes you see. So I've just forced myself into this funny kind of head shape. Aren't you too old for that now? TGIF. D-Biz says TGIF. like have like a serious brow. Like, aren't you too old for that now? Looks like a Frankenstein. One eye open. Oops. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep him with the tall, skinny guy, but I want to maybe amplify, just blow up his face a little bit. Why not? Because it should be more about the faces than the. There we go. Than the bodies, you know. Aren't you too old for that now? They're all like at a coffee shop, probably. So she wants to open a coffee shop. These are all the doubting people in her life. I'm just gonna draw a hat on this person. Long ears, why not? Then the classic, just get a real job like everyone else. Way smarter. Classic. Depending on your position in life, I guess that could be true. You know, it is smarter to just not try to. It's not easy to start your own business. There's a lot to it, which is kind of what this strip is about as well. When Ambitious Angel kind of flies in to give some like advice, like, why are you listening to them? Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. How will you know if you don't try? Kind of want him to be looking back towards her, like this way. Right. Get another coffee cup. A lot of emails this morning. I gotta get back to it too. Finding more and more, I'm not really like, I'm consuming some social media stuff, but I don't know how you're feeling about it, but I've got like certain things that I check in on, but I'm less and less on Facebook, or less and less diving into social media as much as I used to. Just because of like, feels like it's a lot of like I'm overstimulated or something, you know. Also really easy to, it kind of looks like me a little bit, but not that, maybe I should just put myself in here like this. No, I would never doubt somebody like that. Let's give him a different hat. Give him like a stupid driver's cap or something. Not stupid, that's not nice to say that. But you know, one of these guys. We'll make it checkerboard too, just because. Why not? That is dope. This is dope. This is dope dodo. On the pencil this morning. working on this top tier. Tier is, we've got 1 tier, 2 tiers, 3 tiers, levels, we'll call them. Just get a real job. Like, it's way smarter. I kind of want Behrman and Bob here, actually. That'd be funny. Let's put Behrman and Bob in here. Just because, it's been in the newspaper already once. It's kind of our heel, I guess you could say. Kind of a bad haircut. Kind of a J nose. Like when I draw the nose, sometimes it's like, there we go. Like a J. Behrman and Bob definitely isn't an entrepreneur. There's no way he would make it. He would give up. If Behrman and Bob had a coffee shop, it would be like Folgers coffee, instant coffee, something like that. I've been in coffee shops like that, where you go in and it's like, oh, cool, a coffee shop, and then you go in and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is this? Like, this is not a coffee shop. I have them hunched over this way. A little handout. Maybe even breaking the panel. So you can't surround yourself with people like this. You can't really have a Behrman and Bob in your life. Or you're just going to be stuck. I guess you could have a person in your life that you care about and just limit your interactions. That was last week's, message, I guess. There we go. Make this mouth better. Shows yellow teeth. All right. What time is it? 8:39. Making good time here. I want to open my own coffee shop. In this economy, now is the worst time to start a business. And then, aren't you too old to do that now? Question mark. There are already so many of those. It'll never work. Balloons. Rename. Let's scribble that. Pencils. Pencils 2. Oh, it's not seeing the rename. Let's try it again. Pencils. It's fun that you can redo your layers like this. Pencils 2. There we go. So I always work on, I've got a rough layer, I've got the pencil layer, then we're going to get in some inks, and then coloring is usually last, but this is all part of the same process, like the writing and the drawing at the same time, because sometimes you'll make a face, it's kind of like a fugly face, and the character's saying something different than what you've thought. Like the face expression just makes it change what the character might be saying, especially with humans. I'm gonna make his chin just kind of float into his when you look at people, it's interesting because a lot of people don't have like defining, necklines or anything like that. A lot of people just have like sloping right into their neck, no chin, kind of thing. So this will be our main character, human, in this strip, and then we're going to have Ambitious Angel sitting up here on this cloud, listening to all this, like looking like alert. So even like ding, and then like sigh, maybe they're right. And now that character over here needs to be here and looking a little bit depressed. What kind of nose did I put? A little pointy nose. There we go. That'll be a better mouth for sigh. Maybe they're right. Have you ever wanted to start a business? Like something fun, like a coffee shop, or is there some kind of fun idea for a business that you thought of and that maybe you didn't do because of not having the money or, the time? Just curious. Let me know in the chat. Jamie, good morning, Chrome Bridge. If you don't know, over there on Twitter, they're having a 24/7 Road to Chrome happening. Chrome is, let me reset this stream real fast. Chrome would be coming out May 7th. It's our trading cards through Topps Chrome. VeeFriends Topps Chrome. Topps Chrome VeeFriends. Big deal for us. Big deal. So many cool cards in these sets. Also so much more broad and accessible. Maybe a little bit more affordable than our our original trading card game. Some of those cards are getting a little bit pricey out there. So this will definitely be something that's really going to bring a lot more people into VeeFriends. So what they're doing over on Twitter right now is there's a 24/7 called Bridge to Chrome. So they're just talking VeeFriends. They've been talking comics. I listen in occasionally, but I haven't had time to jump in there and chat. Maybe it'd be fun to do that live. I don't even know if I could do that live. Let me think about it. So yeah, this is the VeeFriends Making Comics stream. If you're new to VeeFriends, please email me at comics@veefriends.com. If you're just chilling out, maybe you're another artist out there. I've had some artists ask me what brushes and templates I use. I'm happy to send them to you. But you got to email. We're 250 characters created by Gary Vaynerchuk. You might know him as Gary V. That's why we're called VeeFriends. VeeFriends. Right? That's what's up. I don't know if I could pull up Spaces on my desktop. Can you all listen to that on mobile? I think so. Can you only listen to Spaces on mobile? I think so. Can't do it then. Can't do it. Okay. Let's get back to work. So yeah, I'm working on this comic. This girl wants to open a coffee shop. These people are saying the doubtful stuff. Of course, Behrman and Bob. She's like, man, maybe they're right. What was she wearing over here? Kind of like a zippy. I think I'll have her holding this coffee cup down now. She's at a table of some kind. Because she's at a coffee shop thinking about, you know. Scotty, good morning. Your son took the quiz yesterday and got motivated monster? Cool. That's a good one. I like the motivated monster. Not like old, not an old person, but probably someone, you know, like, got a couple lines, you know, maybe been thinking about it for a while. I'm just going to zoom out here so I can see her situation. Again, look at her hair kind of pulled back in a ponytail. Maybe they're right. So the question today is, did you ever want to, is there any kind of like cool business that you thought of opening or you dreamed of opening? Tell me in the chat. One of my, not dream places to open, but I always thought it would be cool to have like a coffee shop / comic store, you know, a comic book store that sold some coffee, have a little chill out area, but also then tack onto the comic book store like a little studio where we would be making comics live. You could like look through glass and see the artists working on their, you know, boards or something like that. Maybe even now that's what I thought of in like the early 2000s, but now with live streaming and whatnot, maybe we could have like screens that were different artist live streams happening, or live streaming directly from the comic store studio. Would be kind of fun. You know, I thought about that for a long time. I actually almost, you know, reached out to a friend of mine that owns comic book stores. He's got about 6 stores, or I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 stores. He's got a lot of inventory, and I thought, well, maybe he could help me stock, you know, the inventory of back issues and stuff. But I know how much it is I know how much time it takes to actually run a shop right, that I wouldn't be able to do it. But it's a dream. You know, it's like, that would be a dream location. Like an actual comic book store that's making comic books at the same time that you're there. You can actually make her a little bit bigger. Or maybe it's better that she's smaller. Yeah. No one will think about that stuff except for me. But like, these voices have made her dreams smaller, kind of thing. Yeah. That's cool. And then the broken hearts are falling. So we'll crack these hearts in half. I like the symbolism of broken hearts and things like that. Spin this around. Something we could do in the inking stage, really, which I'm going to get to very quickly. So some broken hearts falling. Maybe shattering. I don't know how to do that. Let's see that. Just like the mirror in the last comic. Maybe we have like the heart shattering into. Because a dream is a wish your heart makes. I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but a very smart cricket said that, I think, or maybe a dream. Or maybe a fairy godmother, I don't know. Who sang it? I thought it was Jiminy Cricket, but it's from Cinderella. A dream is a wish your heart makes. Is there? Yeah. Okay. I have a Shaky Graves version of that I like. I can't play it for you here. Maybe I can. Let's find it real quick, and I'll just turn it up for a second. Shaky Graves. Dream. I've dropped my Apple Pencil. Oh man. This is me. This is what happens. Here I am saying that out loud about a dream is a wish your heart makes. Let me just turn this up. Shaky Graves. I think it's faster in this song, like. Hold on. There we go. There we go. Just a little clip. We'll just put a little clip in here. I think it's really nuts. Anyways, I would be listening to music right now if I were just by myself. But there you go. Shaky Graves. Hey, maybe when there's a movie, when there's a VeeFriends movie, we can get him on the soundtrack. What do you think? I think so. I'll be like, everybody else will be like hip hop artists and stuff like that. I'm like, we need some Pearl Jam on there, and we need some Shaky Graves. I'm all for the hip hop and stuff too, though. You know, maybe we get some. Gotta have some Nipsey Hussle on there somehow. I'm talking about a VeeFriends soundtrack, inspirational, you know, songs. Star on her chest, like she's looking like like she's been like alerted that a dream is being squashed. Ambitious angel. Up here in the clouds, big eyes. Anyone down on that meth? Nope. Rusty Shackelford. I hope you're not down on meth, man. Come on. You gotta get high on life. Although, you know, Breaking Bad, really great show. Really great show if you want to learn all about that. Okay, Rusty. Teach some. All right. Oh. Yeah, working on a Sunday comic right now. If you're new to VeeFriends, email us. Email me at comics@veefriends.com. Let us know. We like to hear from you. Hey Rusty, guess what? I'm gonna block you from the YouTube. Bye. There you go. I hate to do that, but it's ridiculous. I'm usually not a blocking type of person, but I got no time for that. I didn't know I had the button that I could do that with. Sorry. Come back when you're in a better mood. Ain't nobody got time for that. No drama, no negativity. You know, this ain't the place for it. At least not on my stream. We gotta keep it positive. Okay. Figure that out with more of the inking. We've got definitely her sitting on the cloud with her halo. Just had her on the poster too for the VFam meetup. She was up there in the corner. Ambitious Angel. Is there a method of madness like time allotment or go where it takes you in each section? Good question. I mean, I kind of think of the idea first. You know, if we have the ideas, or there is a method to the madness for sure. What is the method to the madness? It's a good question. I'm going to pull something up and show you. Just have to be careful what I'm showing. Have to be careful what I'm showing here. But got this Miro board I show a lot. What's that looking like? Can't see it because it's in the way. Well, shoot. Okay. Well, I hope that you could see it, but over here in this section, I'm going to zoom in on this. So you see, I've got a calendar going for the Sundays and the dates and whatnot, and the comics. I kind of put the final comic in there, you know, and notes from Gary and stuff like that. So we kind of brainstorm. So this one here is Ambitious Angel on the board, and you know, I had like the idea is, if you're not dreaming big, who's dreaming big for you? Like, why would you listen to those people? So do some brainstorming on this type of board, but I've got a lot of different concepts up here that we talk through. We talk about relationships and social energy. Your circle shapes your future. Not everyone deserves access to your time. So there's a lot of ideas that are on this board. Like, there's tons of ideas on this board. And plucking out the ones based on like what's coming up in the weekends. Look here, I've got my DJ's out Pearl Jam weekend. So that's where that begins. The ideas kind of begin. And then from here, I will think of that idea. I'll go back and I'll start the video time-lapse replay real quick here. Time-lapse replay. You can see I started with a different type of concept, but I didn't like the layout. I didn't like this very thing happening there. So I kind of started again this morning, and I was like, wait, I'm going to break this up, break those panels out, make it more interesting. And then I was like, wait, I'm trying to figure out that part too, because I'm like, do I really want those panels up across that top, or do I want a cool header? I almost just started writing VeeFriends across the top, but then I decided to expand that out so Angel's up in the clouds. That's a good header. And then she's going to come in here and start. And then I took that, blew that up, and started just fleshing that out because I knew the characters were going to be doubters and they needed to go across that tier. And yeah, so like a lot of times it can change as I'm working. I might just get a better idea, and then I'm okay with pivoting. Because ultimately the goal is to just make a good looking comic that gets the point across, you know? And I don't like to, you know, it's not a slight on other comics that are out there, but I got excited and I looked at some of the Sunday comics, and I was like, boy, these are really boring to me. Like, they look boring. Like, we've got all this real estate to do whatever we want. Why don't we blow it out? Why don't we explode this and make it just something cooler? Like, she's going to fly off this cloud and whiz around. And VeeFriends will be made of clouds too here. I like that. I'm going to set an alarm real quick. Set an alarm for 9:30 a.m. Okay.
It's turned on.
Sweet. And then I'm going to have her zip around. So I need this pose of, I've already done kind of the rough pose, but I'm going to pencil in. This is not, that's the rough layer. Fade that out a little bit more. Again, I want to adjust. I'm not going to adjust my screen too much. That's fine. Looks a little different on the stream than it does in real life, but I'm not going to noodle with it too much. There we go. So again, I'm just going to... The stage of penciling is just like getting the pose down, you know, molding it, getting it right, making the pose look good, making sure the character looks like the character, and all that. Like, she has usually 2 big eyelashes. Well, for the most part. So she's flying in saying, like, because after they're saying, maybe they're right, she's going to be like, well, what? Well, maybe they're wrong. Well, what if they're wrong? She needs to be looking down more as she's flying in, so I'll change that. Yeah, keeping it being adaptable when you're drawing is a big key. like I said, my goal, and I'm not too precious about it. Like I think my goal is just to make a good, solid, understood comic, and then from there we can build up and break some panels and break some rules and stuff like that. But I'm never precious about it, because what I mean there is, like, if somebody else, Gary or Andy or any of the team members, came in and said, "Hey, why don't you try it from this way?" I wouldn't be like, "No, I'm going to do it my way." Unless I was really, like, it would have to be something that I was so dead set on. But I feel like you have to be a little bit more flexible, because we're not always right, you know? Um, I know a lot of creators that think, how dare, I am the expert. I think that that's the wrong approach. At least for me, it's the wrong approach. You definitely have to be more of a open-minded to new suggestions and stuff. And that's going to make you a better creator, human being. Not even, we're all creators, by the way, just so you know. But if you happen to be an artist out there, being rigid and be like, that's against mine. Nobody really wants to hear it. No one cares. Ruthless Rob, what's going on? Good morning. And also, when I'm drawing these poses, I'm also thinking of, are we going to be able to take them out a little bit of, can we pop them out into a sticker? Can we make them into something else? That's definitely a prevailing mindset that we have, because then it's not just one and done. Maybe the comic doesn't, maybe doesn't do well, but then we are able to reuse some of the work from it to be stickers or a social media post that goes wild or something. I don't know. Like, that's the beauty of content, really. Storytelling is that maybe the story can be told in another way. I don't know. What do I know? Just talking out of my butt. It's hard for me because I'm like, I can just talk these things out loud, but then as I'm actually saying them, my brain is thinking, the other part of me that studies like philosophy and meditation and stuff like that is like, you don't know anything. Why are you saying anything at all? The older you get, the more you realize you don't really know anything, and the rules that you were taught for creating a comic page, let's say, don't make any sense to you. And the things that I would say aren't rules for other artists and creators. It's just how I'm approaching it these days. What works for me might not work for everybody. It's definitely not a cookie cutter approach. Glitching? I hope not. Let me turn off my Wi-Fi though. I hope this doesn't break this. If this breaks the stream, it's been awesome. I don't think it will. I didn't realize I was on Wi-Fi. I hope not. Am I glitching anywhere else? I'm live on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. Follow us on at VeeFriends Comics. All right, good. Was you? Good to know. Good morning, everybody. Working on this comic strip here. Lady wants to open her own coffee shop, and these other voices are like doubting. In this economy, now is the worst time to start a business. Aren't you too old to do that now? There are already so many of those, it'll never work. Just get a job like everyone else. Way smarter. Maybe they're right. Or maybe they're wrong. Whoosh. So now we can have some fun with this line of her flying kind of come past. Whoosh. Nope. One more time. You're kind of like a whoosh, off the page. That's too much. I want it to be like flowing right through there. Nope. I want it to flow. I'm going to start from her. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I want. I don't want the lines to be touching either. It'll be, faded out as well a little bit. You get the idea. Whoosh. Maybe we do. Sideways whoosh. Whoosh. Like a flushing sound. Her dreams are flushing down the toilet. J-Rob, good morning. Really enjoyed comic book number 1. Yeah, the gift codes, I guess, got the link to their virtual comic book. The physical copies are coming. You can't, I guess they'll be slabbed, so you can't really read through it, but it's in there, I promise. Really looking forward to more people seeing the other comics that we're working on. You're specifically going to like issue 2, J-Rob. You probably already saw it. Maybe you saw it on that board. Do we have that? I'm going to look real quick. I'm just curious myself now. Can't remember what I put on the gift code board. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, well, hello, good morning. If you're new to VeeFriends, email VeeFriends@comics@VeeFriends.com. That's me and Corso. The virtual comic was obtained if you were a gift goat. You did get the virtual comic early. Oh yeah, you got a preview of what's coming up. So you guys the gift code's got a heck of a preview actually of some cool stuff. Great, I'm excited about that. Rob Flock said, "How does one get the virtual?" We will have the comic book for free. You'll see over on VeeFriends.com. VeeFriends.com. Comics. You'll be able to click that, and coming very soon is comic books. So you're just going to be able to go boop and then read the issues for free. If you want to collect the issues, that's another story. Some of the gift goats will be selling these physical copies that are slabbed. I'm not going to say much more about that. They're going to get a nice package very soon, like very, very soon. I think they're organizing the shipping and stuff right now. And those look sweet, like the stuff that Gary wanted issue 1 of the comic books to be very special because it is. It is. It's a very special thing for VeeFriends as a whole. We're a new brand. It'll be the first time the characters were in a comic book, like a real comic book, like a V called VeeFriends, you know. She's gonna be like ambitious angel. We like to say the full names of the characters. A lot of people have the desire to shorten the names right off the bat. But it's important to us and to Gary that the names are said in full. So ambitious angel, you know, we might, after we've said her name and established, they might shorten it to just angel or something like that in the conversation. But, you know, when there's people out there like maybe you that have never seen VeeFriends before, we want you to know that this is ambitious angel. And she's the friend that arrives whenever your other friends or these people, this guy, and makes you feel like this. She ain't having it. She's ambitious. She wants you to be ambitious. Try and fail and try again. Be practical. We should probably have Practical Peacock popping up in this comic too. Like, you know what? Ambitions are, dreams are big, but you also have to be practical. Maybe right now isn't the time to start the coffee shop, but maybe you should get a job at a coffee shop to learn the ropes of it. I've heard this story before. Actually, somebody had this story on Facebook one day, and they said that they always wanted to have their own coffee shop. They thought they could never afford it. They went to go work at a coffee shop, and they really did love it. And it was their dream to own a coffee shop. And then the owner was retiring and decided to sell the coffee shop to the employee that was very passionate about it. And so, boom, that's how the universe works, folks. You don't have to, sometimes it's not a straight line to your goals. Sometimes it's, you know, is that a mythical pins hat, DJ? What hat am I wearing today? I don't even remember. This hat is a Spirited Man hat from Van Neistat, Casey Neistat's brother. The Spirited Man on YouTube. You should subscribe to him. I love both Neistat brothers, but I think Van definitely. Well, both Neistat brothers are cool as hell. So, but there's something about Van that he understands the content that he puts out specifically. We're very much aligned with. He's into film and telling stories, and I'm not as meticulous as Van Neistat, that's for sure. But I like the cut of his jib. Shout out to Van Neistat. I'm a Patreon supporter, and I like to think that I'm a spirited fellow. Let's see. So I kind of want her to be down here with a little ponytail. I don't know what this line is here. There's just some spare lines. I want her to look kind of happy that a good friend is arriving. Put the little cafe table there. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the secret, everybody. This young lady here wants to open a coffee shop. Maybe she doesn't have the money. She just has the dreams, the ideas. But you got to start somewhere, even if it's just putting a plan on paper and going out and looking at something. But like, you can't just jump into something you don't know about. You can't just go open a coffee shop if you've never done that before. You got to learn, what does this take? Are you actually going to enjoy it? So that would be my advice to someone that's, you know, looking to do that, would be like, go learn about it. Go dive into it. Learn how to make all the drinks. Learn stuff about get in there. Figure out the coffee beans, the roasting, all that stuff. There's so much. Oh, you want to open a comic book store? Fantastic. You better know what the heck you're talking about, right? If you're just going to open a comic book store and say, hey, I got comics for sale, here they are, that ain't going to fly. Because the real people that are coming in there that are passionate, they want to know if this place is legit. You know what I'm talking about. You walk into a place where you're like, this ain't real. This is kind of meh. They're just here to make money. Kind of want her hand to be, you know, open, I guess. I don't know about you, but if an angel flew in and I was drinking some coffee, I'd probably like spill my coffee all over myself. So maybe like we got some, whoa. There's an angel flying in here. What? And she's going to be like, ambitious angel in the flesh. Why would you ever listen to those people? And she's pointing up. Now that I have her, I want her pointing up here. So I don't want her doing this here. I just want her to look rad, flying in with her hands. Maybe like that. Like a flight kind of pose for her hands. That's fun. I like the rainbow idea. Maybe she is flying and the lines would be kind of like rainbow whoosh lines. I like that. Thank you, Rob. Maybe that's exactly what these will be. Kind of like maybe we've just invented something. I don't know. Charles Schultz said, screw that mess, go start it. That's right. That's true. Comic fans are particular, though. That's also true. Destiny, what's going on over on Facebook? First Facebook saying hello of the day. We're live on TikTok. We're live on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram at VeeFriends Comics, and we're also live on VeeFriends X and Facebook accounts. And yeah, X and Facebook on VeeFriends. Would love it if you subscribed to the channel. We're building out the VeeFriends channel. And I'm not going to work on this. I don't want to work on this logo during I want to do it. But I don't want to do it on the stream because it's kind of boring for me just to be doing lettering, I think. People like to see me drawing, so I don't know. I'm just going to fade this out. Let's get up here and do some inks. Now I'm on a different layer. We're going to zoom in. Change my brush to smooth train brush. Make sure I'm the right. So it should be sitting on these clouds here. Definitely was the first person to draw her like sitting on a cloud. I just thought that was kind of cool. That, you know, it's one thing to fly around and be able to do that, but I also thought about like, well, what other kind of ways could she get around that could be visually cool for an angel? And I'm like, oh, they have a little cloud that they sit on, you know. It's very video game like. Something like a Mario. Ambitious Angel's just up there in the clouds. She can hear the heartbreak, I think. So she got to zoom in and fix this problem. Or give some practical advice, you know. Because ambition without practicality, you know, ambition without being practical is just, could be delusional. So that's what we always say. We always say that, like, you need a couple of friends together. So maybe you need Practical Peacock and Ambitious Angel to work together. You need these two to work together, so you're not like falling into delusions of grandeur. You know. She's real small, so I don't want to get too crazy detailed. Fix this little feet and make sure that I've got the lines closed. We have a lot of people on the streams or after the streams will try to send me ideas for comic strips. We can't really take ideas from the public, just, you know, legally. And I'm sure everyone has the best intentions, but we got to be careful not to take ideas. I'm always excited when people are like, "Hey, cool, I've got some ideas." Can't stop you from making fan comics, but we also just need to protect our own IP a little bit. But that said, I think it's fine if we're here on the streams and you're offering an idea like that. But it can become a slippery slope of, like, so for instance, if we decide, or I'm like, okay, cool, I like the idea that when she's whooshing, maybe these lines are rainbow colored. But if we make that into a staple of her character, then, you know, someone could come out of the blue and try to sue us. And so, I'm not saying that you would do that, but say, I invented that part of Superman. That's happened. And then it's like, oh man. That's why companies are so locked down. But in this information age, streaming age, live age, we're alive on this planet right now. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, in the streaming age, anybody can come in and say anything. I mean, that guy just came in a little bit earlier and said, "I'm on meth right now." And I was like, "You gotta go, bro. Like, you gotta get out of here." But people could come in and claim anything and say anything, and I think there's a balance there, because I like interaction with fans and friends, and adding to it, we're all building, you know, VeeFriends together, but ultimately, you know, we all want to see it succeed. So I think the world's changing from what it was. We know this. The rules and things that we made in the past are much different now. No one ever thought that you'd be able to do what I'm doing right now. Drawing live on a magical computer screen, talking to, you know, there's 395 people watching across the channels, and no one ever thought this was going to be possible when they made laws and rules and stuff. Like, everything changes, you know. So we got to be adaptable and got to trust each other a little bit more. But that can be expensive sometimes, because there are some people out there with not so great intentions for everyone, and that sucks. To those people, I say, you kind of suck. If you're out there just having bad intentions all day, get a life. You know. And I wish you the best, though. Nobody here on this stream. Everybody here is chills. Chill AF. Like, we're doing it here on this stream. Destiny, you got banned from TikTok? Or what? TikTok's been, you know, a strange thing. I know my other TikTok, I just don't put out my own content anymore. Like, I just don't feel like it. I mean, not that I probably have some time, but my TikTok channel was the one channel that kind of blew up for me. But I just, again, I wasn't passionate about it. I didn't want to fall into the trap of being like the Scribble Challenge guy, or, you know, I got a lot of these same doubts and things that everybody has when you're creating things. But other people would say, DJ, you're crazy. That one thing you did blew up. Why don't you go lean into that thing? And I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't really passionate about that one thing that blew up. So I've learned that from my YouTube friends who, same thing happened to them. They weren't really passionate about the reason that their one video blew up, and then suddenly they're the review person or something, and they're just like, oh my God, I just want to bang my head off a wall. I don't want that. So it's a good looking angel on the wall on there. Then we'll have her whooshing around, like I said. So maybe I'll just nailed it. I'm gonna hang around here for a couple more minutes, I think. What do I got? I got some. I need to check my meetings though. We don't need that. The halo will suffice. Gary says we'll learn a lot more about Angel soon. I'm hoping after this summit we'll know like an origin story. I mean, at least internally we'll know the origin story of Angel. You know, I can't help but think like, you know, why is she an angel? Like, who was she? Like, she's obviously dead now, maybe. I don't know. Like, what did she do in a previous life? Was she always an angel? Like, I've got all these same questions. So I'll sit with Gary coming up this week, and that's one of my big things I want to know, because she's such a powerful character. I would say probably Ambitious Angel and Fearless Fairy are probably two of the most important and strong characters in the whole 280 plus characters that we have. Hey Rob, thanks for joining in. I don't know if I'll be streaming from the offsite. It depends on when we get there and we see like what the internet is like and all that. But make sure if you're on these channels, if you want to see live streams next week and you want to know when we're live, make sure you hit the bell to alert you on whatever channel you're watching on. If that's TikTok, we always know D. Coleman's doing that, because like every time I'm on, D. Coleman, boom, you know, he's there. He always says, hey, good morning, because he must get the alert. And he's like, oh, he's live. Right on. So follow us, hit the bell on YouTube, on whatever, Instagram, for notifications when we're live. Because I might be going, like, listen, I'm going to be in a room with Gary for a week. I can't imagine we won't try to go live in some capacity. So maybe we'll have a cool live jam with Gary next week. I don't know. I don't want to make plans. I want it to just happen organically. You know, I don't want to stick to a schedule where it's like, time to live stream, because I feel like it's too, you know, you never know when you're in a creative brain space what putting walls around that is kind of tough. So we might just jam and be in the zone. We might talk about, hey, let's just jump to this comic book right now. Let's write through it right now. You know, Or hey, let's talk about Sunday comics now, and let's jam on some more Sunday ideas. There's a lot to do, guys. I'm excited. More comics, the better. In general, not just VeeFriends comics, but we need to see more comics out there from more artists making their own things. It's a wonderful platform. Comics are the greatest storytelling. Comics are the greatest storytelling medium in the world, in history, and I can tell you why. It breaks down language barriers. You don't have to have language in it. You're telling stories with visuals that even aliens from outside of here could probably understand. There's no budget or restrictions. It's only based on your talent level. So learn how to draw better, and the stories will be better. So time frames much faster to produce than a animation or a movie or anything like that. And that's why a lot of movies are derived from things that were created in comics, because there's some raw, pure form of storytelling that happens with sequential art. Stories told in sequence is the oldest form of visual communication from caveman days, and it's the same now. It's easy to just jump to say well, I'd rather watch an animation or a video or something like that, and that may be true, but it's also true that comics are timeless. It's a timeless way of getting, just in a couple panels, we can make you feel something or think something. So, as a matter of fact, some political cartoonists really kind of, political cartoonists in general, sometimes they say, the pen is mightier than the sword. You can convey a big idea that can change the world. That's how powerful cartoonists could be and are. But with great power, Uncle Ben from Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. So it's very easy. I learned this so early on, and maybe that's why it was so addictive. Cartooning was when I was in school, I could just draw a little cartoon making fun of things, making fun of the teacher, or making fun of this or that, and people would laugh and they would like it, and it was so easy to go that route, making fun of things. That's easy. Being cynical, easy. But then you start to realize, wait a minute, I can make someone feel better, or inspire somebody with a story, or I can tell my own story in a comic and make myself feel better. There's so much power to the craft of comic storytelling that I love. And that's what's up. Pretty happy with this angel. Pretty happy with this. If anybody knows what that's from that I'm saying there, shout out. And that's what's up. I won't shout it out, but you can if you want. So one thing about being so zoomed in is the detail doesn't really matter, because it's probably going to shrink down and not be seen as much. So it's tempting to want to zoom way in and get the lines all perfect and stuff, but it's really not necessary with digital art. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, kind of situation. You know? Indeed, it's Adam Ray, Jeremy character. And that's what's up. I say it a lot. I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. I'm like, oh my God. In my mind, it's just that guy, Jeremy. Adam Ray's Jeremy going, and that's what's up. Shout out Adam Ray, Dr. Phil. He also plays Dr. Phil. Wild. Wild fellow. Big fan of... I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy. Even though, you know, I know sometimes it's a little bit, you know, you gotta not be so, you know, sometimes the humor is really dark and crass and stuff like that, but I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy. There's an art to that as well. So I would never do that. I just, because sometimes I have to tell jokes, so I have to study, you know, humor a lot, and so that's one of the things I've tended to study humor writers, which many of which are some of the best are stand-up comedians, because they only have so much space for their little sets. It's very interesting. Just like I only have so much space for, you know, getting a story across. And we'll be right back. And we'll be back. Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching this morning. This is the VeeFriends Making Comics live stream. I am DJ Coffman, the Director of Comics. Good morning to you on this Friday, March 21st, 2025. I do these streams usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next week, we're going to be off-site with Gary, so I don't know what the internet's going to be like or whatever. We'll probably do some live streaming, so please make sure you're hitting the bell, subscribing to @VeeFriends Comics on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and then you'll know when we're live, but probably around the same. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to make any plans. But VeeFriends was created by Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk. You might know him as Gary V. If you're new to this deal and you've been watching and like, well, what is this? Email us at comics@veefriends.com. Might have something for you. If you're an artist and you're interested in the brushes and templates that I'm using, just ask. I've got a little link I can send you. We've got trading card games. I haven't opened so many minis today. I haven't opened enough. Let's open a couple more and we'll get out of here. These are pencil toppers for my day. This looks like a green. No, we got a You're Gonna Die Fly bubblegum. You're Gonna Die Fly. Let's do one more. Let's do what do I got here on the desk? I got another blue one and I got an orange one. Tell me which one right now. The first person I see when I look up, blue or orange? Blue or orange? Say it in the chat. Speak it. Blue or orange? Blue or orange? Blue or orange? Blue or orange? Blue, orange. Blue, orange. Blue, orange. Orange it is. This is a season 1. I saw orange first, so let's see who we got in here. Chelsea also said orange. Good morning, Chelsea. All right, let's see. Get a little... Gary opens these with his teeth. I'm not going to do that. We got a little bubblegum driven dragon, season 1. So you can see the difference between season 1 and season 4 or season 3. I'm not sure which one this is, 4 or 3. But these are the lava. They glow in the dark. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But I'm always looking for the detailed ones, like Humble Hedgehog here. They're not as glossy. There's like a glossy coat on the newer seasons. Interesting. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, I'm DJ, the VeeFriends Comics director here at VeeFriends, and I'm working on these comic strips. These are on the Sunday newspapers. We've got Sunday newspapers. We've got the comic strips coming out from myself, Ali Castro, Chris Faison on the Instagram. You want to check this one out today over on Instagram at VeeFriends Comics. Make sure you follow us over there. Probably on TikTok as well, to be honest. And what else? We got comic books coming real soon. Big comic books, adventure stories, and deeper topics are coming really soon. Very soon. Lots of things are at printers right now and on shipping and all that stuff. But I've been working on this stream on one of the upcoming Sunday comics featuring Ambitious Angel here, and that's going to be it for today's stream, I think. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Good morning, Orion. Just as I'm peacing out. Appreciate you guys. Remember that VeeFriends is forever. We will see you real soon. We'll see you back here sometime next week. I'm sure I'll make a streaming thing happen, but stay tuned.